Hi friends, hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello! So today we are going to be talking about a topic that I think is very prominent right now as a result of Morphe, basically. It's always Morphe. Morphe announced that they will be no longer commercially working with Jeffree Star Cosmetics, meaning they will no longer be selling his products in light of recent things that have come forward about Jeffree Star that I've covered a bunch of times already over here, so we're not going to recap it. But I thought that this was a really interesting topic to kind of bring into a bigger conversation about brands and responsibility and accountability and what kind of happens after a brand does the thing that the public wants, or what happens to the brand, how I feel about it, how maybe you guys feel about it. So kind of brand responsibility and where we go from here. So the first brand obviously I would like to talk about is Morphe. So when everything started coming out about Shane Dawson, a lot of stuff from his past started resurfacing, a lot of clips started resurfacing. Morphe made the decision almost instantly to stop selling the Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson palette. They didn't really release any sort of statement, concrete statement, but they did stop selling it on the website. When you went to search it, you couldn't find it. And this was very surprising. There's a lot of confusion about if Jeffree Star does actually have a stake in Morphe. Is he a co-owner? Is he an investor? And this is pretty heavily debated. Morphe has made statements that Jeffree Star is not at all affiliated with them as far as an investor. He's only worked with them because he sold products through their stores. So Morphe made that statement, but there is a video from 2018 where Jeffree Star talks about being invested in the company. A lot of people are saying maybe he's saying he's invested, like he's emotionally invested. But if you look at the context of what he's saying, he definitely was implying that he has money in it. And he spoke about Morphe as a unit. So he was saying like, we are going to open 75 stores this year, or we are going to sell commercially, like things like that. So it's up for debate if he actually is a co-owner. I'm going to go ahead and say no. And the only reason I'm going to say no, I don't think Jeffree Star is stupid enough to blatantly break FTC violations in that way. Because if he did have an affiliation with Morphe in the sense that he had money invested in them and he had not disclosed that, having reviewed them on his channel numerous times, promoted them, gone to store openings with them, sold through them, if he did not disclose that he had money invested in Morphe as a whole, that would be an FTC violation. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that he didn't do that. But if he is, that's a different story. So we're gonna go about this as if we don't think that he is invested, but he definitely could be. I just would like to think that he's not that dumb to blatantly break the law in that way. So they dropped Shane's palette and then somebody emailed asking about it, and their response email was very bad. They basically said that they dropped Shane's palette because of the things that were coming out against him, but that they did not drop Jeffree Star Cosmetics as a whole because Jeffree Star has shown growth and change over the years despite his racist past. And that email got leaked on Twitter, it went viral, and did not bode well for them. People were very angry. I think there was this sense of like, okay, so you're gonna punish Shane, but you're not gonna punish Jeffree, when it's very obvious that both of them have done things that are pretty bad. And Morphe's Instagram and Twitter feeds have been pretty much flooded with people calling for them to stop selling Jeffree Star Cosmetics. So, in a very surprising move from Morphe, they actually did the thing that people wanted. This is kind of a first from them. They actually did the thing. They said, okay, we're not gonna work with him anymore. They cut ties with him. They decided they were not gonna be selling his products anymore. And Jeffree Star Cosmetics also came out with, I'm gonna put the screenshots here, but Jeffree Star Cosmetics also came out with a statement basically saying that they were surprised, but like, bye. Kind of a like, we're gonna be fine situation. So Morphe did what everybody asked. Morphe did the thing that they were being called to do. They listened to their consumer base and they said, okay, we're listening to you. We're going to do the thing that you want us to do. And it got mixed reactions. Obviously, people who are loving Jeffree and are big Jeffree fans were very angry at them. And then there were people who were very happy with them. I was one of them. I was happy. There were people kind of saying they should have made that decision much sooner. They should have never worked with him in the first place, given we kind of knew about his past. And there's a lot of discourse about this. So in my notes I wrote, did they pass the vibe check? So I think, and this is the thing, I'm not making this video to be like, buy from Morphe, don't buy from Morphe. This is kind of just my opinion. I think the problem with the Morphe in this particular situation is it's not just this. Morphe's shadiness and weird business practices and reasons that I've not liked them in the past go far beyond just their support of Jeffree Star. So for me personally, I don't see a reason to continue to support them anyway, despite making this decision. I also don't really like any of their products. The only product I like is the Continuous Setting Mist, which is like, maybe I'll buy it again, I don't know. But Morphe has kind of a past of being really shady. They never used to disclose properly affiliate codes with their influencers. They never made them properly disclose them. I almost kind of blame them for people not trusting beauty YouTubers because Morphe put so much distrust into consumers with the way that they handled their business in the beginning. They also have continually worked with Jaclyn Hill, and there's been some shady things with her palette where her original formula was vegan and then it changed to not vegan. Somehow all of their palettes get leaked via like cakes. They did that palette with James Charles that was just the mini version of a palette that already existed. I have a whole video about how I think that's just a blatant money grab, which is like, fine, you're a company, do blatant money grabs, but it makes me as a consumer kind of turned off to you. So for me personally, now that they're kind of just going with the tides and being like, oh, Jeffree Star's out now. Like after all these years of working with him, promoting him, constantly he was at all of their store openings. Like it just feels a little disingenuous. I'm not writing off Morphe forever. I think if they can do things that bring trust back to their consumer base, I think that if they can put out more innovative products, they can do different things, then I'm not writing them off forever. Sometimes when it comes to brands, which I'll talk about another brand that I feel this way about, but sometimes with brands, I'm like, okay, we should support them because they did the thing that we wanted them to do. So if you want something from them, you should allow yourself to support it because they did what we asked. They listened. But in this case, it does feel like a case of too little too late, in my opinion. They waited way too long. They doubled down before changing. And it just doesn't feel as if it's a company that I personally am like gung-ho about at this point. The problem with the beauty, I've said this a million times, but the problem with the beauty community right now is that there are so many brands to choose from. Why choose Morphe? Why shop at Morphe? So I do think that dropping him was a step in the right direction to showing that they like actually care. I think listening to the black influencers that called them out, like Jackie Aina, who said she was not going to be using a code with them anymore because of their affiliation with Jeffree, I think listening to them and taking that step is a good one. It's a like positive check in my book. But for me, I had other reasons to not support them because I think they're shady as hell. The other thing I would be skeptical of, and I don't know enough about law to really speak to this, but it does seem that the terminology they used in their statement is open for a little bit of interpretation to a like, maybe Jeffree still is making money from Morphe. The whole shadiness of that in and of itself makes me just sus about the company in general. If they were just more open and honest about that whole situation, I would feel better. But I genuinely feel like there's something weird there, whether it's Jeffree's invested through somebody else, like something is weird about that. And I think that that is also kind of preventing me. I really just wrote that they're shady. Morphe is shady, but they did a good thing. Done. I'm glad that took me 12 minutes. Okay, next. So we're gonna talk about Lime Crime. So Lime Crime is another brand that made some very big changes recently to the people that they had in charge. Lime Crime has been kind of blacklisted for a very, very, very long time in the beauty community. I don't see a lot of people using their makeup. I feel like sometimes I do, but for the most part, they're deemed as a generally problematic brand. And that was because of the founder, Doe Deer. So Doe Deer has done a lot of stuff that was really bad, but most notably was the picture of her dressed as that was bad. And there was a bunch of other stuff too, but she's done a lot of really just like gross stuff. So people have never wanted to support her. And I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was Jay Kissa did a video where she went to the Lime Crime offices and she talked to them about that situation. She talked about Doe Deer. And a Lime Crime, again, it's like, why are you being shady? Lime Crime tried to say that, well, she was no longer CEO or she was no longer like in charge of that aspect, but she was still on the board. So they did disclose that she was on the board, but they definitely tried to minimize her role in Lime Crime, who she was in Lime Crime and like what her position was there. They definitely tried to downplay her presence because they knew that her presence was killing the brand. It came out recently that Doe Deer and I believe her husband stepped down from the board and they wanted to give their seats on the board to people of color to more diversify the board, which honestly, that's amazing. First of all, I don't know if I fully believe that they weren't bought out of that. I don't know how all that works, but it just feels weird that maybe somebody can explain it to me down below how this would work, but it feels weird that after hanging on this entire time, Doe Deer would finally just like do the right thing. Like, she has run this brand into the ground for the past few years because she just refuses to leave, and now all of a sudden she's like doing the right thing and doing this really amazing thing that's gonna help diversify her company. Like, it just feels weird. But anyway, she's gone. So she no longer has any sort of stake in Lime Crime, which was the reason a lot of people didn't buy from them. Here's the thing about this one. It's like, did they pass the vibe check? In my opinion, maybe. What I would love to see and what I hope to see from Lime Crime is that they actually take this opportunity and use it to actually grow as a company. I know that asking for actual growth and change within a company can be a little bit of a tall order because companies are not human beings. They don't evolve and learn and grow like human beings. We can't necessarily expect that of them. A lot of people are saying that this move from Lime Crime is performative, and I can definitely see that. I can see how it would seem that way, and I don't know if it's performative. The only real way you can know if something is performative when it comes to things like this is by watching, observing. Are we going to actually see a change in the company as far as diversity? Are they going to be coming out with products that are more diverse? Are they going to be supporting movements a little bit more? What are they going to be doing with these new voices? Are these voices just going to be sitting there so they can check off that they have a certain percentage of people who are Black? Or are they going to actually listen to their voices and incorporate that into their company? That is what I would be interested in knowing and seeing, and that's what I'm going to be watching for with Lime Crime going forward. It did seem to me and does seem to me like they were trying to get Doe Deer out for a long time. I think it was pretty common knowledge that she was the reason the company never really reached its full potential. So I am interested to, I'm not totally writing them off. I'm kind of like Morphe, I'm kind of over Morphe, but like with Lime Crime, I'm not totally writing them off. I'm interested to see if they actually take this opportunity to become a better, more well-rounded, more diverse company, or if they're just, it was just like a PR thing because of what's going on right now. So I am interested to see. I'm going to be watching and kind of observing, and that's how I kind of like to do things. With these two examples, I think that's where it almost gets a little bit more difficult. It's not as cut and dry as they did what we wanted them to do by getting rid of this person. Let's all go run and buy everything they sell. Like, it's not as cut and dry as that. I think when you have affiliations with people who are so problematic for such a long time and you double down on those affiliations like both Morphe and Lime Crime have, I do think it is harder to be excited when consumers finally get what they've been asking for, when these companies kind of finally listen to them. An example of where I feel as though a company listened and listened quickly and acted quickly would be in the instance of Kat Von D Beauty. So now known as Kendo Vegan Kindness Beauty with Kindness Vegan, they're vegan. I'm sorry, I have to meme the name every time I say it because it's ridiculous. But I actually applaud KVD Beauty. I applaud them. I applaud how they handled the situation. If you don't know, a few years ago, Kat Von D came out basically saying that she was anti-vax, and on top of that, and promoting anti-vax things to her followers. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of angry anti-vax people in my comments because I always do. I don't care. Leave all the comments you want. I literally am not changing my perspective on this. I vaccinate your kids. However, she also, a lot of stuff was brought up from her past where it seemed like she had done some things that were very anti-Semitic, and I feel as though this is a great example of a brand actually listening. They did keep her around for about 1.5 years. She was still affiliated with the brand. It was still Kat Von D, and the brand itself, I guess I wouldn't know the actual numbers because I don't know how you would get those, but it seemingly tanked. Like, every single product they put out went on sale. Every single product went into Marshalls. The brand was not thriving. They were not doing well. They went from being a very popular poppin' brand to being literally constantly on sale. Nothing was selling out from their new releases. People weren't excited about the new releases. They were getting dragged every time something was posted on Trend Mood. So the brand definitely took a bit of a dive as a result of Kat's actions. And I do feel like I don't know how they could have gotten her out any quicker, because it wasn't just that she was like a worker for them or like a CEO. She was the brand. Her personality, her vibe, her name, everything about Kat Von D was that brand. So I don't think it would have been as easy for them to just immediately cut ties with her. And I also, from a business perspective, can understand why they maybe would want to see if this whole situation would blow over before they actually made a very drastic change to actually change everything about a brand. Like, it wasn't just her leaving, it's changing the name, the aesthetic, everything. And so they did finally cut her. She said it was a decision that she made. However, I think it's pretty obvious that she was bought out by Kendo. I think it's pretty clear. They made it very clear that she is not profiting at all from KVD Beauty. And I don't know why you would make that so clear if she really just wanted to leave and go focus on her vegan shoe line. That's just my opinion. This is a situation where I actually fully supporting KVD Beauty. I think that they listened to consumers. They listened in a pretty quick, I think it was only a matter of like a 1.5 to 2 years of her being out. So they listened pretty quickly given the circumstances. I think they actually made the change because of public opinion and public pressure. It was likely a very expensive decision for them to make and likely cost them a lot of money, especially considering they were already losing money on the brand as a whole. So to then also pay her out, which I'm sure cost them a lot of money to do so, especially considering she's not even getting like royalties or anything from them. I respect the decision. And for me, the main problem with Kat Von D Beauty was that Kat Von D was the person in charge of it. She was the face. You were buying her. That was always my main problem of the brand, was her. So once she was removed, there's no reason for me to dislike the brand anymore. And that was a situation where I felt like if that was your only problem with them, you should go and support the new brand. You should buy things from them if you're interested. Don't just buy to buy, but if you're interested, go and buy new things. I bought one of the rose blushes pretty shortly after because I felt comfortable supporting a brand knowing that my money was not going to her. I think it's important to note that this is a very individualized decision to support brands or not support brands. You could not care at all and still have supported Kat Von D. Like, you could have not cared at all and still supported Morphe. You can support whoever you want to support. I'm just a fan of being informed, and I also think it's interesting to talk about the after effect of brands doing what we wanted them to do. Like, what happens after the boycott? What happens after the brand does the thing? Like, what goes on from there? I personally do think it's a good thing to support brands who make those changes if we believe they're authentic. Because I think it shows other brands that, yes, if you do the thing we're asking, it'll help you. It will be beneficial for you. Your sales will go up. We'll support you again. I think that's an important message to send. But also at the same time, I can understand with more gray area situations like Lime Crime and like Morphe, I can understand why people would still be hesitant. I understand that. I think this is a really interesting topic. I don't see this same type of, and maybe it's because I'm not in those types of YouTubes, but I don't see the same type of brand accountability in other places other than makeup. Only makeup is where I really see a lot of brands holding themselves accountable. And I think that's because their entire revenue source depends on us. They don't get revenue from other places. They don't have other things going for them where like other companies might. They don't have a lock on the market like other companies might. If they screw up, they have to do something about it. They have to take accountability for it. A great example of a brand who did it perfectly would be Fenty Beauty. Fenty Beauty came out with a red highlighter, one of their kilowatt highlighters, and they called it Geisha Chic. And everybody was mad. Like, instantly under the Instagram post, it got flooded with people saying this is insensitive, this is not a great name. It was a classic scenario of groupthink where everybody in the room just didn't realize that it was offensive. They just didn't think about it. It was such a like-minded group of people who didn't see why that would be offensive to people. They saw that it was offensive. They didn't put it out for sale. They went back and changed the packaging, likely costing them money, and then they relaunched it with a different name and issued an apology on why they were wrong. That is like peak just doing the right thing. And that's why I love Fenty. That's why I vibe with them, because even when they made a huge mistake like that, they instantly corrected it in the best and only way that they could. And I love to see that. And that's why these other brands, I don't think, can get away with just doing half apologies, doing shadier things. That's why I don't think they can get away with it, because they have competition that will always be able to do it better now. I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about these whole situations. What do you think about Morphe dropping Jeffree, about Lime Crime dropping Doe? Like, I'm so intrigued to hear what you guys have to say. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I hope you like this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face. I'm wearing the new Raw Beauty Christie palette. I just did a tutorial with it. I got it in PR. What? And along with everything down there will be a link to register to vote. You should absolutely click on that link and register. And you should also check out my little social justice spotlight, where I just have important things going on down there, petitions to sign, places to donate, all that good stuff. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!